Watch this.
Fund students, not systems. That is the concept behind a new education push at the Idaho State House. Since the last legislative session, some Republican lawmakers have raised questions and concerns about what is being taught in public schools and if Idaho students are achieving at a high enough level. Yes, this whole conversation is tied into the critical race theory debate. Of note, we've spoken with dozens of educators, administrators, and lawmakers on the topic, but specifically on accusations of indoctrinating Idaho students with slanted public school curriculum. The evidence jar is still empty. Today, though, a new bill was printed in the House Education Committee, a funding mechanism for students and families looking to go outside of all the traditional education means. It's called the Hope and Opportunity Scholarship Program, and we'll likely hear a lot about it in the coming weeks. For now, though, let's set the stage on what this new legislation aims to do. New legislation in the Idaho House aims to create more education options for Idaho families. The Hope and Opportunity Scholarship would create an education savings account for families.
This act would allow dollars to follow students so parents could access education services environments that work best for their children.
The concept is sponsored by Republican Representatives Dorothy Moon and Gay Ann DeMordaunt.
Families can use these funds for private tutoring, curriculum, tuition, or fees at a private school, and there's other approved expenses.
Additionally, the program would allow funding for things like an online learning program, individual classes, extracurricular services, services contracted for and provided by a public district, charter, or magnet school, textbooks, computer hardware, technology, and more. So, who would be eligible for the program? Moon explains the major factor.
To be eligible, the family, their household income is less than or equal to the 250% of the income necessary to qualify for the National School Choice Lunch Program. Additionally, the student must be enrolled in an Idaho public school for 45 days before applying.
According to Representative Moon, eligible students could get up to about $6,000. That number is based on the current per-pupil funding formula the state uses to fund public school students each year. The goal is to allow families to pursue education options that best fit their students. Moon says, in terms of transparency and the use of tax dollars, there will be checks and balances. For example, Moon says the program would include an up-to-date education service providers list that will be approved and can be added to as time goes on. Also,
the annual audits of individual accounts that will be performed by the department or by a private contracted provider to ensure that our public dollars are being used wisely.
The proposal puts aside about $130,000 to fund students interested in the program. Representative DeMordaunt says that they are basing the funding and interest from similar programs in other states.
Based on what has happened, the uptake of this in other states is right around 2,000 students. That is 1% of our total students in the state.
The House Education Committee printed the bill after committee approval. It is expected to appear in the committee for a full hearing next week. At that time, we'll hear more discussion and debate. So very early on in the process, but already there are strong opinions for and against the idea. Supporters say that funding students over funding a school system through legislation like this, it prioritizes student achievement and success. Critics are raising questions, though, about taking funding away from Idaho schools and allowing families to spend public tax dollars on things like private schools. Next week here on the 208, we're going to dive more into this topic, so join us. There's a lot to dig into next week when the bill is expected to be brought up in committee again, and then we'll hear extended debate and conversation on that. So stay tuned on this one. Well, it's deja vu in the House chambers for the fourth time this session. Representative Ron Nate, a Republican of Rexburg, he tried to bring up his grocery tax repeal bill to the House floor without it having a committee hearing. And that is completely within the rules. It's allowed under Rule 17 over at the State House. That's the rule that allows lawmakers to call up bills for floor debate that have been sitting in a committee for more than 5 days. However, the full House must agree to take up the bill. Easier said than done. Well, Nate's bill, which is considered a personal bill, it's been sitting in the Ways and Means Committee since it was introduced on January 19th. So, what is that committee? Why that committee? Well, it's where most, if not all, personal bills go to be heard. And that's where, for example, the Add the Words bill and at least 23 other bills are currently waiting to be heard. including another bill relating to the grocery tax. Now, that committee, Ways and Means, has not yet met this session, and as of right now, no plans to do so. So when is the committee going to meet, I should say, and really what's the point of it all? Well, let's explain. They're used to, quote, quickly introduce legislation, usually at the end of a session. And last year, that committee began meeting on March 8th. And Representative Nate's attempt to bring it to the House floor, the full House this morning, it did fail, 55-11. So in the committee it stays until eventually they decide to meet and take it up. Well, from the State House to our nation's capital, Idaho's congressional delegation is working away in Washington, D.C., working hard on the federal level. But yesterday, they were joined by a four-legged constituent. Who could this be? Well, Burgess Everett, who's the bureau chief for Politico, he tweeted this picture saying, quote, "There is a lost dog following Senator Crapo around the building," and around the Senate office building specifically. Crapo said, "I wonder why you guys were all looking at me." Well, early reports claim that the dog happened to wander into the building, and later it went into a hearing room and laid down for a little nap after a staffer allegedly left the door open there. Well, it turns out that was partially true. You can meet Theron, this is him. Senator Crapo tweeted out that this pup actually belongs to one of his staffers who brought him into the office yesterday. But just look how sweet that face is. That's a great member of the team. I'd let him into any legislative meeting he wants to go to. Well, this caught the attention of Crapo's buddy, Senator Jim Risch. He tweeted the picture and said, quote, "They don't call him Mad Dog Mike Crapo for no reason." Mad Dog Mike Crapo, that's not something I ever thought I'd call a congressional lawmaker, but here we are on a Friday, so I will get into the newsroom right during the break, and we will update our contact list to Congressman Mad Dog Mike Crapo. Talk about a birthday month. This World War II veteran continues to celebrate his 95th birthday this week, thanks to a single Facebook post made by his daughter. It's the story that had so many of you talking this week. Is there something else we should be talking about? Well, you should tell us about it. You can text our 208 text line anytime. Here's the number, 208-321-5614. Be sure to include your name and hashtag the 208. We're going to share a few of your messages at the end of the show, so stick around and send us what you got. Well, as you may or may not know, the 208 is doing things a little bit differently here on the Friday edition. We're calling it the 208 Callback because we're bringing back our viewer favorites from this week. And overwhelmingly, that includes this next story from Wednesday. It was on that day that Don Brown, he celebrated his 95th birthday. And Brown is a World War II veteran and a survivor of the Battle of Iwo Jima. He's one of about 240,000 World War II veterans still alive, and of about the 16 million that fought for our country. And it wasn't just one day of celebration. Oh no, it's been more like a weeks-long celebration for this birthday boy, all thanks to his daughter and a Facebook post seen around the country.
On this block of the Winstead Park neighborhood, the mailman, Harold, has had to carry a heavier load lately.
Mr. Brown, I got another big load for you again.
Mostly because of what he's been bringing to Don Brown's house.
It's not as huge as yesterday, but that's still quite a big pile.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see, Don is turning 95 years old.
All right.
And for some reason,
This one is from New Hampshire, Austin, Texas. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then this is from Connecticut. Oh, you got one from Hawaii, too.
he's been getting a lot of letters
This is from a Mr. George Frederick
from people
in Leesburg, Florida. Do you know any George Fredericks?
Nope.
All right.
he doesn't even know.
Dearborn, Michigan. Ring any bells?
Nope.
All right. This says Rick Notkin in New Hampshire.
Nope.
Nope.
One of the reasons is written right in the cards.
Don Brown, wishing you a wonderful day. Yours is and always will be the greatest generation. My mom and dad were both World War II veterans. God bless you, Mr. Don.
In 1944, Don joined the Marines out of Sioux City, Iowa, at the age of 17.
They took 17-year-olds if your mother was signed for you.
Anxious to serve his country.
The war was going on. I was afraid it was going to end before I got in it.
Just days after turning 18, as a member of the 5th Marine Division, Don found himself on a beach in the Battle of Iwo Jima.
They let us crowd the beach with Marines, and then they opened up on us, and they couldn't miss.
In 4 days, the Marines took Mount Suribachi.
I remember the day they raised the flag.
While that certainly wasn't the end of the battle,
Then we went on from there.
Don would only stay in the Corps another 2 years.
Thinking of you on your birthday.
Then all these years later,
We got more?
these letters
This is from Chelsea in Austin, Texas.
from folks he's never met?
Nope.
How?
It's a big deal. 95 is a big deal.
His daughter,
And,
Julie.
He's my hero. He's just amazing. So
Julie wanted to come up with something to top the Civil War cannonball she gave him for his 90th.
I wanted to make it super special.
So she went to social media, posting on an Iwo Jima survivor's Facebook page about her legally blind father who lives alone.
And just said, hey, my dad's going to be 95. It'd be really cool if he could get some cards.
Some cards.
You know, something extra in the mail besides bills and advertisements. And,
Julie was just hoping for a handful.
you know, maybe 10, 15 cards.
Then one night,
Rick.
late last month, Don's neighbor Abby stopped by.
He said, I typed this because my handwriting is terrible.
Don told her he's been getting more mail than usual.
And I was like, holy cow, there was a stack of 10, 12 cards from all over America already.
And they just kept coming.
We're up to 124 cards from 33 states and Washington, D.C., 2 from England, 1 from Japan, and a handful of handmade cards from students in junior high classes.
It says, Dear Mr. Brown, my name is Tucker, and my dad and I like to write letters to people that we admire.
And Abby has read him every one,
I'm only 6, so he's helping me type this letter.
turning his big day into a pretty big month.
It's been just really, really special to have something to look forward to every day.
More than a modest response for such a modest man.
He's such a proud Marine. So to know that other people care about his service, it's been an outpouring of love, just absolute love.
It's so heartwarming. It's so powerful. I mean, I tell my family and I tell my friends because it is such a testimony to how much good is left. It says, wishing you a very special birthday from Georgia. Thank you, sir, for your service to our country.
I think it means more than he's even really able to say.
Well, I think somebody's thinking of me anyway.
Lots of somebodies, Don.
America is a better place because of men like you. Happy birthday, Marine, from Mike.
It's a wonderful story, but guess what? The party isn't over. Don is still getting birthday cards from across the country. So far, Marine Corporal Brown has gotten more than 200 cards. Okay, maybe you're thinking you might want to send Don some birthday greetings or a nice thank you note. Well, if you would like to send something to Don, please send them to us right here. And we have the address for you right here at KTVB, 5407 Fairview Avenue, Boise, Idaho, 83706. We don't want to overwhelm his mail system, so send them to us and we will make sure that he gets them. But again, Thank you for your service, sir, and what they said in the story is true. Our country is better because of men like you. We'll be right back. The Winter Olympics are coming to a close this weekend. So are the KTVB Office Olympics. Could our Tristan Lewis help us win the big gold medal? We'll tell you how he did in the very competitive sport of office biathlon. We're getting ready to head out for the weekend, so make sure to get your messages into our inbox before we do. Here's the number, 208-321-5614. Questions, comments, really anything you want to text us, just send it to that number. Please be sure, though, to include your name and hashtag the 208. If we don't share your text at the end of the show today, do not worry. It could appear on a future show. All right, there's the final, well, I don't want to say the final medal count, but one of the final medal counts because, hard to believe it or not, the Winter Olympics are coming to a close. And we do have 2 more nights of competition right here on KTVB before the closing ceremonies here on Sunday night. You won't want to miss that. But right now, one final competition for the KTVB Office Olympics, or as one of our viewers calls them, the Lame Olympics. I think they're not lame, they're the best. But as it stands for you on this Friday, Team News and Team Marketing are tied at 1 in Office Olympic activities. So this next and final competition, I'm told, is for all the marbles, and this might be the most intense competition yet. So could the News team pull out the win and the gold medal? I haven't seen this, so let's find out together.
The Office Olympics conclude today. The games are tied at 1-1, and now News and Marketing must compete in the toughest event yet, the Office Biathlon. While the traditional biathlon involves Nordic skiing and specialized lightweight rifle shooting, the Office Biathlon will start with a foot race in front of KTVB headquarters and end with a Nerf gun shootout. The fastest time wins, with 2 seconds being added for each of the targets they missed. it's time to meet the competitors. First up, Tristan Huey Lewis reports the news. And in marketing, Gonzaga alumnus Cohen Kennelcoff Jenkins.
On your marks, get set, go.
I was a very average high school long distance runner, but it's been quite a few years since I've run that far in a dead sprint. Okay, so I felt great right off the bat. About almost halfway there, right before I reached that pole, it was just horrible. You hit the pole, and then you have no more energy left. And on the way back, I was really feeling in my hamstrings. I think I might have strained a hamstring, but I just tried to keep pushing through.
Time. Go.
Well, I would say that I'm pretty athletic. I've done CrossFit for a number of years. I like to run a lot. Before I came here today, I ran 2 miles. So I was really prepping myself for this. So I'm feeling pretty confident heading into this thing. Once we got to that pole and coming on my way back, I saw Shira Matsuzawa, and I was kind of distracted because I wanted to say hi to her, but I was also like, oh, you're in the middle of a race. So then I ignored her and just kept running. But I think seeing Shira pushed me to go finish the race pretty strong.
Time.
So the key in biathlon is slowing your heart down after cardio. It's gonna be hard because the last few days I've been eating barbecue pork ribs and Bailey's Irish cream pie. Ooh, that was close. I started shooting, I felt confident, had the two-handed stance, but I was just pulling him to the left, pulling him to the left. Finally adjusted on that last one, hit the target. That felt good to get at least one. Let's go.
Yeah, I would say I'm more of a lover, not a fighter. I don't have too much Nerf gun experience.
Marketing victory.
Marketing wins.
All right, well, Tristan joins us live now. Tristan, it looks like you're pretty athletic, but we got to get you dialed in on those Nerf guns.
Well, Joe, I just want to first say thank you so much for having me on the 208. So nice to finally be on the 208 after working here for almost a year. So great to join you. It was a big surprise. I didn't realize how fast Cohen was going to be. And I don't mean to make excuses for myself. I just really think it was in the shoes. It just wasn't really good sprinting shoes.
Okay, well, post-game interview, before I let you go, Coach, do you think saying hi to Shira really made the difference? Did being nice to Shira sacrifice the medal?
You know, I love chatting with Shira, and I would do it again if I needed to.
That's Tristan Lewis. He is a gold medal friend. All right, let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. Thanks, Tris. I think this qualifies for So Idaho. How about this? The most Idaho thing we saw today, a moose on the loose in the Palouse. Check this out. Dr. Tonya Ducey tweeted this picture of the moose on the University of Idaho campus this morning. No word if the Moscow moose has been shooed off campus just yet, assumably yes, but it should go without saying, do not approach any moose. Let me rephrase that. So let's try and take a selfie with the moose. Do not do that. Do not do that at all. Anyways, if you see a moose out there, just stay away. All right, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. 208 continues after this. Okie doke, folks, let's see what you had to say. This person says, we have public schools that are providing the needed education for our children. If you want to send your child to a private school, you need to pay for it. It should not be a taxpayer burden. That's from Susan on the school choice bill we were talking about earlier on. Well, I shouldn't say school choice. That was more of funding choice, I should say. This person says, love the 208. Can't imagine two people better suited to anchor it. Love Brian's suits and Joe's personality. Thank you so much. Big question here, though. Where's the dog? I'm told from Mo's mother that Mo has been badly behaved. So he's grounded. He'll be back soon, though. This person says, visiting Boise, stumbled on the 208 show and Office Olympics. What a gem. May have to move here now. Be careful when you tell people you're going to move here now. That's all I'm going to say. But thanks for joining us here on Friday. We love having you with us. We will see you again on Monday. Enjoy the weekend, folks.